Hello. Right now I'm trying to finish this, guys, before I go to sleep. So I'm trying to finish lesson 5.3, and this is about solving trigonometric equations. So this time it's an equation, and one of the techniques that they said is, in order for you to solve trig equations, it's either you can use your algebraic techniques. We have techniques in algebra, especially factoring, different ways to factor, and combining like terms. Terms that are similar can be added or subtracted. So what are the terms that we can combine? And our goal to solve trig equation is to isolate. We need to isolate the trig function on one side of the equation. Okay, so this is an important concept right here. Write that down, guys. To isolate, our goal is to isolate the trig function. It's the trig function that we need to isolate on one side of the equation. Okay? Alright. So let's start with the first example, easy one. Okay? So I have here, solve 2 sine x equals 1. Our trig function here is sine x. So this is our trig function. So we will isolate sine x. So to do that, it's either we multiply by 1/2 or divide by 2. But normally, what we do last time was to get rid of 2, we divide by 2. So that cancels out. Then of course, whatever you do to the left, you do it to the right. So divide by 2 also the other side. So now, what do we have here is, we have only sine x equals 1/2. And of course, we're gonna look for this value. We're looking for an angle that the sine is 1/2. So isn't that, it's an inverse? So it means that, what is the value of x? What is that angle that your sine, the ratio of the side is 1/2? But our sine is opposite of our hypotenuse. So that is 1/2. So therefore, let's look at the unit circle. Okay, so here's the unit circle here. Okay, using our unit circle, sine is y, right? So, positive. So, only here, the sign is positive. Here, the sign is negative. So, we cannot get our value from quadrant 3. Here, our sign is negative. So, we cannot get our answer in quadrant 4. Okay, only in quadrant 1. Okay, so at what angle the sign is 1/2? Or meaning the y is 1/2. Isn't here? And that is pi over 6. Oh, there's another one here. The y here is 1/2. So meaning sine is 1/2 here, and that is pi over 6. So it means that our x is pi over 6, and our x is also 5 pi over 6 using the unit circle. But sine is periodic. So it can go from here 5 pi over 6, but it can make one complete revolution. One complete revolution. So it means that the value of our the angle where the sign is 1/2 will be 5 pi over 6 plus, of course, if it keeps on making a complete revolution, 2 pi by any number of n. Then the same thing here, 2 pi by any number of n. N means one complete revolution. So here's the value of, here's the solution, okay, of our function. All right, one more example, guys, and then we're done with this video. Okay, so let's take this one example right here. Okay, I'm gonna say example number 2. Okay, example number 2. Okay, solve sin x plus square root of 2 equals negative sin x. Okay? Now again, our goal is to isolate the trig function. So I have a trig function here, sin x, and I have also a trig function here which is also a sin x, negative sin x. Let's put them together. So I will rewrite this as sin x plus sin x plus square root of 2 equals 0, right? Because we're gonna add sin x both sides, or move sin x to the other side, you change the sign. Sin x plus sin x, you know that is 2 sin x, correct? And then square root of 2 is a constant, so we can write square root of 2, we can move that to the other side, so that becomes negative square root of 2. And then dividing by 2, that cancels out. So sin x equals negative square root of 2 over 2. Okay, so now here, what is the angle where our sine is negative square root of 2 over 2? So it means we're looking for an inverse, correct? So meaning x is equals to inverse of sine, where the ratio of the side will be square root of 2 over 2. It means that we're looking for an angle. So this is where we're gonna need again our unit circle. The sign, it's negative, huh? So meaning, what quadrant where the y is negative? Okay, so let's look here. It's not negative, and the square root of 2 over 2 is not this one. So let's look here. It's not this one, because our y is positive here. Well, in quadrant 3, our y is negative. So we have 5 pi over 4. So one value of our x is, we can say that x is 5 pi over 4 plus 2 pi n, where n could be any number for complete revolution. And then there's another one here. You see that this is negative square root of 2 over 2, and that is 7 pi over 4. So 7 pi over 4 plus 2 pi n, because sine is periodic. So that's it, guys. Hopefully it will help. Try to do your work and study hard and be safe. Thank you for listening.